Welcome back to Just Railroading. Alright, so got something new here today. Picked this up a couple days ago, got it off of eBay. Pretty nice little set. 999 Locomotive, wedge tender, Challenger boxcar. Everything's in pretty good condition except for the B&O car, which is not a big deal because I do have a few of those extra. It's missing the wheels. It's not a big deal. I could replace the wheels. I've got one more that's a little bit rougher, so I might just take it and sacrifice it and fix this one. I don't know. We'll just have to see, but I'm going to set this one to the side. We're not going to mess with it in this video. But everything's in really good condition. The locomotive's in great shape. The paint looks good on it. Tender's in good shape. Now, I mean, there's a few scratches on both of them, but, you know, for the most part, they're fine. Boxcar's in really good shape. I don't know if this is a real common one or not. I've been kind of getting into the 3/16 MARX stuff a little bit more. I've been buying up auction lots of them. Got a few things, but I guess we'll get into it. I don't really know what to start with. I guess I could start with the engine first. And the cars, all they need is a good cleaning. And these wheels need to be cleaned as well. So they got a little bit of surface rust. Probably sitting somewhere in a damp basement or something. But I think the weights come out of that tender. I gotta take the body off, fix that. Tank car's in really good condition. It's just dirty. Other than that, it's in pretty good shape. Paint looks good on it. Caboose, same way, just dirty. Got some dust. Needs a good cleaning. But I'm going to go ahead and get started, I guess, on the locomotive. And then I probably won't show every car. I might just show probably the tender, because the process to clean the rust off these wheels will be the same on all of them. So I'll probably just show the tender and the engine. The cars, you'll probably see those at the end of the video when I run it. So let's get started. Okay. So I've been looking at this thing. I can tell it's had a little bit of water damage just because of that. A little bit of surface rust. Nothing major though. Like I said, the paint's in really good shape on it. Chrome side rods look really nice. See, someone's oiled it before. It does move nicely. I can tell though that the brushes are probably dirty. Pickup shoe complete. It looks very clean. Looks like someone probably sanded it with sandpaper. All in all, it's not a bad looking engine. I don't know if it'll run. I'm about to try that right now. Alright, so I got it on the test track. Let's see what it'll do. Not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay. So we know we got a good motor at least to start with. Alright, so everything seems to work fine. The reversing unit cycle's clean. It doesn't stick, which is a common thing with MARX. They like to stick. At least some of the ones I have do. But let's go ahead and get this motor out. Because I still want to clean it and I still want to service it, even though it works. I love working on these things. They're so simple.
A few moments later.
Say that and then I can't get the freaking motor out. Oh, it's the light bulb. They got a big old light bulb in there. So I can't get the motor to slide up. Oh heck, how did they get it in there? Seriously, now how did they get this in there? Because I can't get it out. I've never had this trouble before. There we go. Okay. Maybe. Maybe not. There we go. Gosh. Oh, that stupid light bulb was threaded out. Now. Gosh. That was a pain. It kept getting hung on the headlight thing. It was down below there. Can't come up because it hits the cast. I have never had so much trouble getting a motor out of a MARX. What if that light bulb burns? It does not. Okay. It's burned out. Motor seems to be in pretty good shape. It is missing that felt pad, which is almost always missing for some reason. So I might try to come up with something for that, but this is all bent. I might try to straighten that out, which ain't a big deal. I'll just have to try to do that. I'm going to take this shell in the house, clean it up. And I don't even think I'm going to touch this one up. I think I'm just going to polish it and let it be. But let's get into this motor now. These motors are real simple to work on, which is why I like them so much. Move this bottom screw. And then these two nuts. Okay, now before we take the breastplate off, I'm going to get these springs fixed where they won't be in the way. Set them up to the side there. Take the motor around. Okay. This is always the hard part, trying to get this out. Okay. Bristles aren't in bad shape. They're pretty long still. They're very dirty. Very oil contaminated, which is what I kind of assumed I'd see when I took this off. If they don't have that felt pad, people over oil them because that felt pad's not there to keep it lubricated, so the oil doesn't have anything to stay to, and it just goes everywhere. So I am going to try to come up with a felt pad for that, or something, some kind of a pad. Anyway, may not be felt, but something just to hold the oil on there, because it needs it. I can see our little grooves are caked up. I'm just going to take this screwdriver and just gently Run it in there. You need to really use a toothpick to do this, but I don't have any toothpicks out here with me, and I kind of know what I'm doing. I can feel it. I know not to just ram it in there and scrape it out. You just got to gently drag it through there. Don't want to go crazy, you'll tear something up. Because there is wiring behind there. There's, you know, the windings. Whenever I clean brushes, I like using 91% alcohol. I just put it in a little cup like this. Just get me enough where I'll have it. And then Q-tips. And judging by how dirty this is, I'm gonna need a lot of them. People say go to the black stops coming off, but I've learned that if you do that, you'll be here forever because it doesn't stop coming off. I just go till it's clean, or mainly till the oil's neutralized. Once you get that oil neutralized, you're good. This one is pretty bad though. A lot of gunk on the sides mainly. It wasn't that bad dirty as far as the actual appearances of it, but I do like these 999s. They're sort of, they got a little weight to them. They pull pretty good. They're kind of a funky looking design though on the shell. Kind of looks like one of those steam or fireless, looks like a fireless engine. If you've ever seen one of those. It's basically a steam reserve tank. And they call it a fireless engine. Sort of like how you put compressed air in a cylinder. They put steam in a fireless engine. And it'll run off of that steam. Kind of amazing how that works, but and you wouldn't think that it would work. Clean the brush plate too. I mean, look how bad that is. That's disgusting. And it's like a crust. It's not just like grease. It's actually got like layers to it. So this has probably never been done. Now I'm definitely going to try to find one of those pads. I know I've got some kicking around. I've got a few locomotives that don't have them. But these, like this, they need them. Because they're going to be pulling a lot more weight. They're going to be under more load. Going to have to give them a little bit more oil. So, little 3-inch or little 6-inch lithograph 10-plate cars, they're pretty good. They're pretty lightweight. So some of the locomotives I have that don't have that felt, they're not pulling much. More or less just themselves and a little bit of car weight. Here's the real bad one in here. That wasn't that bad actually. I think it was just more or less residue. Oh, that one's pretty bad. Yeah, that one's pretty bad. Yeah. You don't get this clean, your brushes will arc. They won't get a good connection. I think that's pretty good. Wipe up some of the residue. Some of that dust. Okay. Speaking of dust, I might as well clean this side too. I've changed my oil a little bit. What I used to use. I used to use 3-in-1. But now I've changed it up and I'm starting to use actual motor oil. Like car motor oil. Because that 3-in-1 oil dries up really quick. And then, you know, the car motor oil, it's just a test. It's just to see how good it works. I just put a little bit in a syringe. Seems like it works pretty good. I got a few locomotives that I've used it on, and they seem to be doing just fine, so, you know, just an experiment. It's not going to hurt anything. It's too thick, too thin, whatever. Ooh, look at all that dust. Get down in there and get all that out too while we're here. Yeah. Okay. See our motors come out. Oh, it went back. Okay, we're good. Turn around like this so y'all can see this. Alright. I'm going to see if I can find something going here. I'm wanting to say I got a few, but I don't know. But I'm going to look and see. Alright, I found one. Had one on a spare parts motor. I just took it off. I know I've got a couple over there in their basement where I got my layout and stuff. I know I've got some in a drawer. I'll just have to go over there and get one for whatever in the future. But we can go ahead and put this one back. Now when you take these off, you got to be gentle with this wire right here. This is a stiff core wire. I've actually had it break off before, and it's not soldered. It's almost like welded. It's welded on. So it's like a tack weld almost, or a spot weld. And if you break it, you can't solder it back. I've tried, but it's so stiff of a wire it won't solder. So what you end up doing is you've got to take this, strip it back, or cut it off a little shorter, either way, and install, get a wire soldered to this, and then solder it back into that. I've done that before on one, fixed it, because it broke off on me. Okay. We got the brush plate put back on. Everything's clean. Looks good. So now I got to work on the actual brushes. Cleaning them up. And I have found something out. You can use Lionel brushes. The bigger Lionel brushes. So if you're in the need for MARX brushes, and all you can find are Lionels, well, they'll work. Same diameter, same everything. They are a little longer, but I haven't run into any issues. The way I clean these, I just take a little bit of alcohol, put it on a paper towel. Basically work it back and forth. It gets all that grease and black stuff off. Now some of these brushes are soft. So if you're trying to get the black stuff off, you're never going to get it off because it's just going to keep making it. But you just mainly want to get the grease off. See how nice that slid in there? Wasn't sticky. That's what you want. You want a nice free slide. You want to just drop in place. You notice when I took the brush plate off a minute ago, they didn't fall out. They were stuck. One of them did, but the other one didn't. It was stuck up in there. That's because there's so much buildup on the bases of them. It wouldn't just fall out. Not to mention they had oil soaked into them pretty good. Would it be better to replace the brushes when they're like this? Maybe. I haven't really run into any real issues with them being oil contaminated and then clean them back up with alcohol. I mean, they might not work as good as they did, but what I've seen, that doesn't really make much difference. Put the little springs back. I didn't clean the springs. I don't usually ever clean the springs, but you can hear the brushes now clicking. It'll have to run. They'll have to seat back in because I probably put one. They wear at an angle because of whatever direction the motor turns the most, it pulls on one side, so they wear at a certain angle. Now, if you ever take a MARX brush out and it's not been run much, it will still have that notch on the back side. I've seen that a couple times. When you see that, you've got a real nice motor with low hours. Or low, run time anyway. I wouldn't say hours, but low run time. I'm going to try to clean these wheels. Get the dust out of them. I see there's some pretty hefty dust in them. The way I do that is I take my boot polishing brush and you just run it back and forth, turn them, run it back and forth. And that kind of helps get that dust out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we will continue with the rest of the servicing. Okay, so I got the brush plate put back on. I'm getting ready to clean these wheels. I went on ahead and cleaned these front ones. I just took them over to the bench grinder and just zipped them a little bit, and then I took a steel brush and just gently went over these just to knock that corrosion down. I'm probably going to oil them just to make them not rust again. But I don't think it's too bad. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and clean these wheels. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this. I probably won't, because I can't really come up with a way to do the camera. But the way I've been doing them is I'll take the E unit. I got a bench vise right over here. Take the E unit or the reversing unit, and I basically just stick it in the vise, just gently, just on this top part. So it basically sticks it up like this. And then I run power to this, grounded positive. And then I start it and let it run whichever direction it wants to go. And I just take a Q-tip and alcohol, and I just touch it on these wheels until the Q-tip stops turning gray. Once it stops turning gray, I know it's clean. Just gets that oily tarnish off that makes the wheels arc and not get a good connection. But I'm fixing to do that now, so I'm going to get that done, and we'll come back and then I'll oil everything up, grease it up, and the motor will be done. Then we'll move on to the shell and the tender and some of the cars, which I probably won't show any of the cars on camera. I'll probably just show this tender because pretty much the cars are just like the tender on the wheels. Take these off and clean them. I'll just show you how I did that, or how I'm going to do that. But I got to take this tender apart. You can hear that. That's the weight. There's a steel weight in the bottom of these, and it's crimped in place. But I'll show you guys that when I get it apart. Here's what I do. Doing it one-handed here, but just lay the Q-tip on there. Now I've already cleaned them. They're clean. They're clean enough anyway. And it's still picking up some stuff, but and it's still got some dirt on it. That's the last one I did. Usually they're the dirtiest. Okay. Now I did already oil the little felt pad, and I oiled the back side of the winding, and I also put a little bit of oil on the gear, on the little bushing. I went ahead and did it because it was actually making some pretty bad noise. You can see it got oil on the gears, but we won't grease. I don't have a good way to apply grease, so I just use this little bitty screwdriver, and you basically just want to get a little bit on the gears and then give it a little rotate. And you're basically just going to keep doing that until you see grease on every surface. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out real quick, and I'm still going to oil these. Just put a little bit of motor oil or something on them just to kill that rust. And once I get that done, the motor's done, we'll start working on the shell and then the tender. Alright, so now we need to test it to see how good it operates on the track. That's pretty good. I want you guys to see how much it takes. That's literally all it's taking. And it's flying. Wish I could get both of them in the same shot. I don't think I can. Yeah. That's pretty good. That's less than 6 volts right there. So that's pretty good. That's a low power draw. That's pretty good. Alright. One more thing I wanted to show about this motor really fast. Now, for those who aren't aware, MARX made 2 different styles of motor, and they're almost identical as far as how they fit. They'll fit right in that shell. Both of these will, with the right parts, of course. I'd have to have this, and take these off and swap them. But this is a double reduction. So it's got 2 gears. This is a single reduction. It's just got the 1. Now, what's the advantage and the disadvantage? For me personally, I like these, and I'll tell you why. These things run flawlessly. They just run beautifully. They don't give any trouble. They don't act a fool. Every one of them I've cleaned and fixed has run beautifully. These, on the other hand, they run like crap. And that one rolls pretty good, but some of them you can't get them to roll that good, and I don't know why. But you can just see how good this one rolls. Oh, that's right, I ain't oiled the axles yet. It will roll better, trust me. But I ain't oiled the axles yet. But once I oil those axles, it'll roll. I mean, you can kind of tell it rolls pretty easy. Just that track's slick right there. This one, you gotta force it more. I'm putting more downward pressure on it to make it roll. So if I just slide it back and forth, nothing. This one, it rolls. But to me, these run a lot better. But as far as switches, these can't handle switches. Lionel modern switches, or probably any of the new switches they make now, these will derail because of that gear. You see how thick that wheel is compared to that wheel. That's what the differences are. These don't work good over turnouts. These are fine. You can run these all day long. I have a few 10-plate MARX with these motors in them, and I am going to fix this motor. This motor's in pretty poor shape. See, it's all bent up, and it's got a homemade piece, but I've got everything in the parts wise to fix this, but I just wanted to show the differences between the doubles and the singles. Like I say, I like the singles. They run a whole lot smoother, but the doubles are better for switches and things like that. If you're just running trains, these are beautiful. If you're wanting to do switching jobs, play with switches, whatever, if you got switches on your layout, you're going to have a double reduction motor. Single reduction is not going to work for you, unfortunately. And chances are, if you're getting a 999 like this, it's going to have one of these in it, unless someone's modified it. I do have one over there that has been modified. Matter of fact, I did it on the channel, and it's pretty simple. I mean, I could do this one that way with this motor if I wanted to. Take this off, take the side rods off, switch everything over. It's pretty much identical. You got the slots in the back, twist tabs on the front. All you got to do is rebrad your side rods and swap out this front piece with those little twist tabs, and it'll fit right in a 999 shell or even a Canadian Pacific. But I just wanted to show the differences. So let's go ahead and get this shell clean, get that tender took apart, and we'll have this project done. Alright, so here we'll go ahead and take this tender apart. I'm not going to take the trucks off or anything. I'm just going to simply take the frame and shell off. Mainly because of these weights right here. These aren't the weights to it. These are weights to another one I'm working on. But weights have come off from inside. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the shell off with these tabs. Lift them off. And we'll go ahead and get those little things put back with the weights. And while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and clean the wheels up, clean that up a little bit. Rub a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on it so it don't come back. There's a total of, let's see, 10 tabs, I believe. Yeah, 10 tabs to hold these shells on. Some of them are kind of hard to get to, these right here. There we go. Okay. I made this little tool. It's just a real cheap screwdriver. Ground the edge on it, heat it with the torch, bend it where it wouldn't break, and then I heated it red and then quenched it so it would kind of stay bent. Now I'm having a hard time getting to them two. There we go. Yeah, this one's a little bent, that's why. Okay, let's see. Get this around there. Might not be able to see what I'm doing right now, but if you were doing this at home, it's easy. There we go. There's those weights. So the way these attach, you've got these little tabs right here. Pretty much, one of them goes, wait a minute, I've got it backwards. One of them goes like this, and the other one comes up to this hole. So all we got to do is just straighten these out. Not going to do it right now though, because I want to take this in the house and scrub, get that dust off. So while I'm here, I'm going to take the wheels off. You got to be careful when you do these. If you just do that, it will bend this, which is not a big deal. It's metal, you can put it back, but still, you got to watch out. I've done it, I don't know how many times. It's really easy to do. Okay. So there that is. Take this in the house. We'll wash it in the sink. Wash the shell in the sink. Clean it all up really good. We'll take the shell in there too. We'll get that cleaned up. And we will be ready to reassemble once I get these clean. Alright, so I figured I'd work on this back trailing truck. See, it's all bent up. I don't know exactly what happened to it. I've never seen one this bad before. But I'm going to try to straighten it best I can. I don't know if we can get anything out of it or not. Looks like this is bent. Try to tweak that back down a little bit. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to be flat. You know, I do have one. I'm going to pull it off and look at it. And I'll just make this one match. Okay, well, I can't pull it off, but we can look at it. So, this is another 999 I'm working on, or going to be working on. I've had this in a while, but you can kind of see it, maybe. See the screws up under the motor. I don't really want to take the motor out of this one yet. But it looks like it just goes down, so kind of like that, maybe. Yeah. See if we can straighten it out on the vise real quick. Okay, there we go. It looks a little bit better. Now it seems like right about here. I can tweak it a little bit on the engine, but it's like right about there. Needs to have a bend in it. Sort of like that. Yeah, I think that might have got it, actually. I think it's pretty good. I know that's supposed to be flat right in there. I don't know if I can straighten that part of it out or not. Might just have to leave it bent. But I do believe it's better than it was. So, it's got a little bit of rust on it right there. Maybe I can take a steel brush and just gently run over that just to open that rust up. And then rub something on it. Alright, I'm going to go with this brass brush. It should be a little bit gentler. I don't want to take the paint off. I just won't take the rust off. There we go. Looks like I might have took the paint off too, but that's fine. We can fix it. Okay. Now the wheels. Gently run it over them. Okay. So I think we got that pretty good. I just gotta, put something on it to get that rust to kind of hide down, but I believe that's about right. Again, I can tweak it when I get it on the shell and figure out where it's going to sit. You want it to not be sprung up and not be lifted up. You don't want it to be sprung down and lifted up when it's like this. So that's what you kind of gotta hit it right in the middle, if you know what I mean. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna hit it with the newer one. just to get any excess off. Give it a little bit of a polish. Now some of these were blued and some of these were painted. That happened to be a painted one there. I think it looks pretty good. We'll put a little bit of oil on those wheels. I believe it's better than it was. It definitely looks better than it did. Alright, so I figured I'd go ahead and show how to clean the wheels up. This is just a clothes hanger that I bent into a paint hook. This is, of course, a grinder. Now, if you don't have a grinder, you can use a Dremel tool. If you don't have a Dremel tool, you could probably use a Brillo soap pad, a steel brush. It'd just take you more time. I do it this way because it's fast. But basically what you're going to do, take your wheels. I bent this coat hanger at such a drastic point. Basically just going to slide them on there like that. Okay, I think I got that. No, I got it wrong. I got it backwards. I'll do it this way. I ain't done this in a while. Now, I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. See, that'll spin on this one. Basically, when we're done, we'll just switch them. Alright, so it gives me something I can hold on to and let that one do the thing. Alright, well, as you can see, I cleaned that rust right off. Got a nice shiny new wheel now. So, I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest of these. And we'll be back. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put the weights back in. It's all dry now. I still got to do a little bit of something there and just some, small touch-ups. I guess I could go ahead and clean that now while I'm thinking about it. Put a little bit of oil on it. Oil helps the rust kind of go away. You can see, it turned that yet orange. There we go. That'll dry, soak into the metal. It'll be okay. I'm not going to put the wheels back on just yet, so I got more access to these tabs. I'm going to go ahead and put the weight back in, and then put the shell back on. Notice there's two here and one there. Two of these holes are for the rivets, and then this hole's for the tab, and this just sits on the end like that. So it sort of just sits in place like this. I don't really know why these always come loose. I guess they get damaged from rough handling and whatever. I mean, I don't see how that comes off of there. I guess it just hits and spreads those tabs up a little. I don't know. But go ahead and get the shell put back on. Now this shell can be put on either way, so always make sure you got it all oriented right. You want the coal to be on the tab and slot side. I've got a few of these tenders here recently with some stuff I bought off of eBay, and they all need to be restored, like repainted. So that's probably something I'm going to be working on in a future video. I got all of our tabs snapped back in place. Now this is optional. You don't have to bend these. Some of these you could leave them. If you ever think you're going to take this back off, like you could leave these two here and then these two, and you could just do the ones under the wheels, just so these will turn more free. But I don't think I'll ever be needing to take this thing back apart. So I'm going to go ahead and do all 10 of them. There that is, I'll put back together. Okay, now we're going to put the wheels back in. Wheels cleaned up nice. I also cleaned up the axles. I'm going to do this to all the cars. Basically, it's going to be the same procedure. I'm not going to show any of that on camera because, again, it's the exact same method I just showed you to do it. But I like cleaning these axles up and getting any dirt off of them, so these wheels will spin pretty free. Put oil on that. It's going to work just fine. Now, these can be tricky sometimes to get back. So like this one here, ain't all the way in there. There we go. Now I just give them a little squeeze. Make sure I didn't spread those open so I kind of can get them back. Since these are stamped steel, you got to oil both sides. Some of these tenders don't have weights. I've got a couple. Matter of fact, I got one right now that I'm going to work on. It don't have a weight in it. Now, I don't know if that was a factory thing or if someone just took it apart and took that weight out, or what the deal is. It's pretty good. Alright. Tender's done now. I'm not going to polish it up or anything. It looks too good to do that. So this is done. I just got to do the rest of the cars that way. Alright, I think that looks a whole lot better. There's still a little bit right there in that corner, but I mean, I can't really get it in those tight spots too good. But, again, it's a good looking original. That's the main thing. But I got this thing oiled up good. Can't really roll it too good on here, but I don't think this locomotive has much track time. The grooves on the bottom of the pickup's kind of small, and the brushes were still pretty good. But I did oil the axles. Everything's ready to go, so all we gotta do now is just put the thing back together. I think this is brass. It looks like brass. That's just a quarter. I believe that'll work. And it's hitting this, so yeah, it can't go down anymore. So I think that's fine. We gotta do this again. Yeah, you gotta start it and then pull it back. Okay. There's our locomotive. Locomotive tender. All done. So I'm gonna clean these cars up, clean the wheels up on them, and we'll take it over there and run it on the track. Here's the cars all cleaned up. Got the wheels off. Gonna polish all those up in the grinder like I did the tender. They cleaned up pretty good. I am gonna use that gondola, because I actually have one that's in a little bit worse shape than that one, so I'm just going to take its wheels and put them on this one. And then I'm going to take it and put some of the other kind of trucks for the more modern MARX on it. So it'll still be in service, but it won't have these 3/16 trucks. But I think it looks pretty good. Everything's cleaned up, so we'll get everything back together and you'll see it on the layout. Okay, well, here it is on the track, all ready to go. That is the original Baltimore and Ohio car. I actually had one over here, and the gray was really yellowed on it, and it just didn't look all that great. So I just took the wheels off, put them on this one. I am gonna fix that other car back though. I do have another set of trucks. I might even do an S gauge conversion, because if you guys don't know, these are the same size as American Flyer, and I've got a lot of the old blood green S gauge cars. I might just snatch a set of trucks off one of them and put them on that car. Make a S gauge MARX. That's just an idea. But getting ready to test this thing. But I did want to show something that I think is kind of neat that I did. That is one of those, I forget what they call those. I can't remember what they call them. Anyway, it's one of the 4-axle or 2-axle 4-wheel, cars, the bigger ones. I cut the little tabs off, put some trucks under it, and then I had it for a while and didn't really have anything to match it, no nickel plate road tender. Then I got, when I was ordering all this stuff, most of these cars and some lots, I got this tender, and I did the same thing to it. I put some trucks under it, cut the little tabs off. And I mean, it's not that detailed. It was made for those real long locomotives. I do have one. I don't really like it because it's so long it hits things. But it looks pretty good behind this 333, I think. And they're about the same size, and it goes good with these 3/16 gauge cars, or scale cars. But let's go ahead and run this set. I got a Canadian Pacific up here. Of course, it says New York Central, but it's a Canadian Pacific type locomotive, and it is a pre-war. As you can tell by the wheels. Got a train behind it. I got my pacemaker train set up there that I made with the 999 MARX. So let's see how everything looks running around the table. Alright, well, everything seemed like it worked pretty good. That headlight either come back unscrewed again or it went out. I don't know which, but runs pretty good. It went to running pretty good there when I cut it off. I'm assuming those brushes probably finally reset themselves. But pretty nice little set, especially considering it didn't even cost 50 bucks. I had to put a little bit of time into it, a little bit of money. Well, not really money, but I had to put some parts in that car, which I wouldn't have had to have done. I already had a car, but I wanted to just keep keep this set original since it come out together, I'm assuming. But everything seems like it, went with it. So I just wanted to keep it all together. I did build some shelves. You might have seen them. They're a little dangerous, but I do have track screwed down to set the trains on so they're not just going to roll off. But I kind of like how it looks. I'm not going to put them over here or over there just because you'll hit your head on it. They kind of hang down pretty low, but they're right over top of the table, so you're not going to be walking, there anyway, so it's not a big deal. But, yeah, I think it was a pretty good set, or is a pretty good set. I'm probably going to put it over here somewhere on that shelf. I don't know yet. I can't remember what was down there. I think it was this one. This one was down there. Yeah. I do still have the shelf that's over here. So I might, this one, the one up top there. So I might end up putting it up there. I'm not sure yet. I might also put that 333 up there with some of these cars just to get them out of the way. I'll just have to see if it'll fit. I did have that one up there, but I kind of like it. I wanted to be able to see it better, so I put it there. But yeah, I got all these 3/16 scale cars here lately. I'm really kind of getting into them a little bit more. The main reason why I wanted this set was for this boxcar. And then I wound up and found a boxcar. That one. Wound up and found it with, I'm wanting to say another one. I don't know where exactly it is. It might have been that one right there. Or no. It was one of those. Yeah. One of those pacemaker cars. And then I got 2 of them pacemaker cars, 4 of these tank cars, and 4 of those New York Central cabooses from another auction lot on eBay. So I've really been buying them out pretty heavily. Still a few cars I don't have. I'm still kind of looking for them. I'd like to get one of the cattle cars. And I think there's one more box car I don't have. I do have one of the green ones. It's over there on the shelf. I don't have the other green one. They made 2. So I'm missing one of those. And the tank cars, of course, I think they made 2 different versions. They made a shell, I think. Shell. Or something. It was orange like a shell. I think it was a shell. They made a shell, and then they made a city service, which was green. I don't have either one of those. I'm going to have to try to find those. I don't know too much about the gondolas. I do have 2 of the high side gondolas, and I know they also made a hopper. That's another car I don't have, a hopper. And the sickening part about that one is I had my hands on one at the train show a year ago, and I didn't even ask the guy what he wanted. I kind of got distracted. I got a caboose that had lithograph inside of it, and I got that from him, and I think I got something else he had there, and I didn't even think to ask him what he wanted for those. It was a New York Central caboose and that hopper car, and I regret it ever since then, not asking him what he wanted, because I haven't seen one since. I haven't even seen one on eBay. So if that tells you anything, of course I might have and just didn't know what I was looking at. But I do think this was a pretty good deal on this set. The engine does run great. Of course, the tender's in great shape. Paint looks nice. This tank car is a little rough. It's got a little bit of rust kind of coming through the paint. You can see it. That box car is in great shape, and the caboose isn't half bad. Of course, that gondola, I had to fix it, but it's still in pretty good shape. It's a lot better than the one I used to fix it with. yeah, I'm going to run these a little bit more. So, hope you all enjoyed this video. And hopefully I'll be coming up with a layout update video here pretty soon. I have been working on it. As you can tell by the tunnel portals and a few other things. I've added some wood bracing in. Of course, I do have the radio tower up. And something else I was wanting to mention. If you have one of these Lionel things like this, these lithograph cars don't like it. Or the 3/16 cars do not like it. Because I had power on this, and as it goes over, the coupler swipes either on this side or this side, whichever way it's going. And I don't know how it was doing it, but every time it would go over, it would make a dead short. Which is weird, because I've got it hooked to a doorbell down here. And when you mash this button, that's the only time those are supposed to have power on them. So I don't know if something's happened to my button, or my wiring, or if it's just the fact that those are weird. I don't know. It don't make any sense to me how there's power on this when it goes over, unless it's somehow or another touching the center rail too. I don't know. It's weird. But I do have the track screwed down other than that center, because I still got to put the bridge and everything up and build that. And I haven't quite figured out what I want to do. I'm still in that stage of, I have an idea, but I don't know, what I'm going to do yet. But I do know it's coming along. I did, of course, put the road over there, which I think I might have showed that in the last video. I don't know. But I was thinking about putting a lake in here, and I'll probably go ahead and cut that out. Cut it out and start that. That way I can get that bridge installed, or at least get the idea of where the bridge is going to go. And then I can start closing this in with plaster cloth and blending everything into these portals. I'm still not sure if I'm going to leave these long like that, or if I'm going to cut them off. And I would like to try to figure out some kind of detail I could put around this, because I was going to try to cut them to where this was the detail, but this is just a face, so I've still got to put detail on it. I don't know how to do that yet. Just going to have to sit down and figure it out, I guess. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.